The story began on a planet called Chitin, ruled by an evil dictator called Scorba. Scorba led his people so severely that some scientists, Jan and Erica, got fed up. They had created the ultimate weapon in the form of a baby. But this baby was not an ordinary baby, but a baby with superpowers. They both hoped that one day, their creation would be able to defeat Scorba. Scorba later found out about their plans. He also came to their laboratory. Before Scorba arrived, Jan sent the baby to Earth in America on a spaceship. Shortly after Scorba appeared, he wanted to take the baby with him. But the baby was sent to another planet. Knowing this, Scorba was furious. Suddenly, the daughter of the Scorba named Agatha appeared. She offered Scorba to look after the baby. At first, Scorba refused because Agatha was always incompetent in carrying out missions. Still, after Agatha convinced Scorba, Scorba finally allowed it. Agatha used her power to read Jan's mind to find out where the baby was going. After finding out, Agatha goes after the baby. In the middle of their work, the plane carrying the baby suddenly crashed into a satellite, changing its direction from America to Spain. Agatha, unable to change direction, landed in America anyway. In Spain, a couple called Padre Lopes and Madre Lopes were traveling. Suddenly, a spaceship appeared. They approached it and were surprised by a baby with a mustache. The two, who had not been blessed with children for a long time, decided to take care of him. They named him Juan Lopez. When the father wanted to hold him, Juan suddenly bent his finger. Juan's life was not as idyllic as we might imagine. As a child, he was unable to control his superpowers. As a result, Juan was shunned by his friends. Even when Juan celebrated his 10th birthday, none of his friends came. Padre and Madre told Juan to hide his powers so that he would look like an average person and have many friends. Then Madre told Juan to blow out the candles and it exploded. Long story short, Juan was now an adult at 30 years old. He lived in the city and worked in his best friend Janie's company. One day, Janie's company had a new employee who turned out to be Luisa, Juan's friend from college. When Juan saw this, he was shocked because Juan had liked Luisa since college, so Janie held a welcome party for Luisa as a new employee. It seemed that Janie was romantically interested in Luisa. Janie asked Juan to get Luisa a drink. Still, after Juan got it, Luisa went home because she could no longer stand Janie's lewd behavior. Knowing this, Juan immediately followed her. Back at the station, Juan found Luisa. Without thinking, he immediately invited Luisa to dinner. While eating, a group of young people arrived and made a scene. It certainly upset Luisa. Juan, who tried to calm Luisa down, was bullied by a group of young people. After this incident, Juan felt upset because he couldn't do anything. He wanted to show strength, but he remembered his parents' advice. Suddenly, while at the station, Juan saw an incident of a train losing control with great force, and Juan also had to show his strength to stop the train. At first, he tried to stop the train with his hands, but this method seemed to fail. He then decided to go to the end of the tracks, where he stretched a fire hose to stop the train. This action made Juan the talk of many people in the media. Still, Juan's identity was kept secret because his hat covered his face. The news also reached the ears of Agatha, the girl who had been following Juan, and it turned out that he was still in America and now had a technology company that had spread worldwide. The company was called Chit, which made advanced robots to help people. However, the original one was designed to destroy the world. After that, Agatha told her father, Scorba, and he said Scorba to come to Earth. Scorba ignored Agatha's words because he had been waiting for 30 years and Agatha had not yet captured Juan. Finally, Scorba gave Agatha one more chance. If he had come to Earth, but Juan had not been caught, he would kill Agatha. To make a long story short, Agatha went to Spain to find Juan. One night, Juan was going to the cafe to meet Luisa. Juan, who has excellent hearing, suddenly hurt his ear. It turned out that it was Agatha who was using ultrasound. She was doing this to get Juan to meet her. Unable to bear the pain, Juan finally went to see Agatha. Agatha had explained everything about Juan's origins there, but Juan didn't believe her. Agatha was forced to order her men to arrest Juan, but Juan managed to escape. Before Juan ran, Agatha had read Juan's mind, and finally he knew Juan's weakness, Luisa. After learning this, Agatha intended to make a robot that resembles Luisa. But before that, she had to get Juan's DNA first. Then Agatha used her robot and Janie's company to get Luisa's DNA by pressing the glass used to drink Luisa. But Janie caught the action and immediately destroyed the robot. But it seemed that Janie was too late and the robot had managed to transfer Luisa's DNA. Janie immediately rushed to Luisa's house to tell her. On the other hand, Luisa found Juan at her house. Luisa was angry with Juan because he didn't attend the cafe. Luisa, who was drunk, accidentally declares her love for Juan, who kisses her back. Unbeknownst to them, Janie was watching them kiss from a distance. When Janie saw what had happened, he became very angry with Juan. Suddenly, Agatha arrived. Then Agatha showed Jamie Luis's robot and invited Jamie to take revenge on Juan. The next day, Juan returned to his hometown to ask his parents about his origins. At first, his parents tried to lie, but Juan was too complicated, so they showed him the spaceship that had taken Juan when he was a baby. Then Juan accidentally pressed a button on the spaceship. The plane immediately played a holographic message of Juan's birth father, January. In the recording, Jan said that Juan came from the planet Chitin, and now Chitin was in the chaos caused by Scorba. Juan was the only person who could stop the chaos by defeating Scorba. Jan also said that Juan could fly if he wants to improve it. Knowing that Juan could fly, his adoptive mother made him a costume similar to Superman's, using cloth from the plane. Then, his adoptive father, Padre, told him to learn to fly to save many people. Although he had fallen, Juan finally found a way to pass by doing the two-finger metal salute. When he was above the clouds, Juan could not control the direction of his flight. Fortunately, he could land right in his house, although he could not land perfectly. Shortly afterwards, a robot resembling Luisa came to Juan's house. Thinking it was the real Luisa, Juan invited her to chat. It turned out that Agatha told Jamie to control the robot to seduce Juan. In the middle of the chat, Juan even talked about Jamie, saying that Jamie was his best friend. He was the only person who could accept him. When Jamie heard this, he was touched. As things were not going well, Agatha took over Luisa's robot and tried to solve the problem roughly. Her attempt failed. On the other hand, Juan already knew that Agatha would kidnap the honest Luisa, so he went to Agatha's place to rescue Luisa. Once there, he immediately went to the place where Luisa and Jamie were being held hostage. Agatha seemed to have set a trap with an ultrasound loudspeaker that could hurt Juan's ears. Luisa tried to praise Juan to get him out of his pain, but her efforts failed. When Jamie demonized Juan by saying that superheroes suck, Juan felt humiliated and starts to get up. Feeling that his efforts had been successful, Jamie and Luisa continued to demonize Juan until he was finally able to remove the laser from his eyes. Juan then rescued them both and took them to his adoptive parents. Scorba came to Agatha's house, where Scorba could not wait to meet Juan and asked Agatha to meet him at the place where the hostages were being held. Agatha was surprised to see the three of them who had escaped. Scorba was very angry with Agatha because Agatha was always incompetent in carrying out missions. Scorba insulted Agatha all the time until finally Agatha could no longer stand Scorba's insults, which constantly humiliated her. Then Agatha killed her father by removing his breathing tube. After Scorba's death, Agatha has all the power, and Scorba's followers have also submitted to her. Meanwhile, Juan was arguing with Luisa. Juan told Luisa that he didn't want to be a superhero anymore and would burn his costume. Luisa said that burning the outfit wouldn't change him, and he was already destined to be a superhero. He better be himself and save a lot of people. Shortly after Luisa's lecture, Agatha arrived on her father's plane. Suddenly, Agatha pressed the button on her seat. Immediately, Agatha turned into a robot. When Juan saw Agatha turn into a robot, he immediately changed into his superhero costume. The giant robot was very agile. He kept attacking Juan, but his attack did not work on Juan's body. Luisa, who saw Juan being shot, had an idea to defeat Agatha by dropping him into the pool, using the same technique as the young man who fell for Juan on his first date. When Juan was about to be killed by Agatha, Luisa arrived and demonized Juan so that he could get up. With this method, Juan finally got up. Luisa also tells Juan that this was the way to defeat Agatha and that she would park her car next to the swimming pool. Juan, who already understood Luisa's intention, continued to beat Agatha's robot until Agatha finally lost. Then Juan captured her and took her to the planet Chitin. Days later, Scorba's spaceship returned to Chitin with Gata, carrying the man from the park who everyone believed is Juan, and appointed him as the planet's new leader. Juan himself stayed on Earth and was now dating Luisa. Juan also became a Spanish superhero called Super Lopez. From now on, he would use his superpowers to help needy people. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.